Hey everybody, it's your pal Trandell. We are back with some more Remnant 2 content. Now, this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit now. In this video, we're going to be talking about Relic Hearts, and it's definitely going to be a lot different than a lot of other videos I'm sure we've all seen. This is not going to be a tier list. This is not going to be this heart or that heart is the absolute best heart in the game and using anything else is stupid list. This is not going to be anything like that. Multiple reasons. A, just being honest and blunt, I think a lot of those types of videos are really clickbaity and kind of dishonest. Remnant 2 is an amazing game with many features, with many different aspects, with many different types of play styles. You have solo content, you have co-op content, and I think it's just a huge disservice to try to force everything into one or two boxes. There's all types of different types of Relic Hearts in this game. All of them have a usage. All of them can be amazing. And I think one of the traps and one of the things that a lot of content creators really focus on a little too much and get tunnel vision about is solo content only. And again, I think that's a disservice to the game because in my opinion, one of the best features of Remnant 2 is co-op. Co-op in this game is amazing, and just focusing only on relics that shine in solo content is missing the point. So that's what we're going to talk about. Basically, this is going to be thought sharing, this is going to be inspirational and build crafty and just some of my favorites. That's all it is. Again, depending on the situation and whether you're playing solo or co-op, there are some Relic Hearts that are amazing and can definitely be worthwhile to look at. Now that that's out of the way, for any of our new players, let's get a quick TLDR. What the heck are we talking about? So, Relic Hearts are a type of healing consumable that basically allows you to not die as much. You get them right at the start of the game. The first one you're going to get is our tried and true Dragon Heart. From any of our Remnant 1 players, this is one of the hundreds of different huge changes between the games. Unlike in the original Remnant 1, as you can see, and I don't even have all of them, there are tons of different options for Relic Hearts. They do all kinds of different things. There is a flavor of Relic Heart for you no matter what your playstyle, no matter what type of build you're going for. There's a Relic Heart for you. Now, I don't want to go too deep into the weeds on Relic Fragments, but Relic Hearts, kind of like weapons, do have open slots called Relic Fragments that we can put Relic Fragments in. And pretty much, they give you even more customization. Yeah, as you can see, there's dozens of them, and I probably haven't found them all yet. The basics are yellows are utility based, so things like ammo pickup, ammo reserves, mod and skill cast speed, reticle spread recovery, all kinds of utility stuff. Skill duration, that's yellow. Blue is going to be where you find your survivability and your sustain, so things like damage reduction, healing effectiveness, shield amount, you know, stamina. That's going to be your stamina. That's going to be your survivability and sustain is blue, and red is just damage. Basically, if it has to do with damage, you're going to find it in red. Fire rate, elemental damage, melee attack speed, melee crit damage, melee damage, range crit. If it's damage, it's red. So you can slot these into your relic fragment slots to customize your build even further. All right, done. Those are out of the way. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, there's multiple different ways to play this game. There's multiple aspects of Remnant 2. Yes, there is solo play styles that we have to talk about. Maybe you don't have a lot of friends that play Remnant 2. Maybe you play predominantly solo. That is definitely something we want to cover, and that's going to be our first little group of relics we talk about. Are relics that do work very well for solo content. And again, this isn't a tier list. This is just some of my favorites, the way I look at relics and the way I think about relics. And again, this is all hopefully just going to be inspirational to give you all out there some ideas and different ways to look at relics too. Now, one of my go-tos is the Crystal Heart. I've basically used this throughout my whole entire first run of the game. I use it all the time. It's awesome. Now, what does it do? On use, regenerates 115% of max health over 10 seconds, so you get a nice, long, sustained heal. The next line, at first glance, can be kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. It took me a little while to finally give this bad boy a try, but when I did, man, I was glad. So, it does reduce your movement speed by 50%. And we can take a look at that now so you have an idea of what that looks like. So, here's your normal walking speed. Here's your running speed. You pop your Crystal Heart, though. And that's it. Now, you can still dodge. It doesn't affect your dodge speed. It's only your movement speed. And there you go. Now we're back. So, like I said, at first glance it can look like it's a pretty big con and kind of scary. But, let's talk about the whole package and what comes next. And, incoming damage is reduced by 25%. Last 10 seconds. That is a huge damage reduction buff that we get. And it lasts 10 seconds. So when we put the whole thing together, yeah, your movement speed might be reduced for those 10 seconds. But you're getting constant healing. You're getting that 115% of your max health non-stop over those same 10 seconds. And you're also taking 25% less damage over those 10 seconds. So, unless you're running just a pure glass cannon build with next to no DR, with low health, that 25% damage reduction with that constant healing over that 10 seconds, not only will you be able to tank some of the biggest hits in the game outside of like one-shot kill mechanics and stuff like that, but most likely you're going to heal all that damage up at the end of that 10 seconds. As you can see, my armor weight is at medium. I'm not wearing the heaviest armor in the game, and just where I'm at right now, I'm already at 52% damage reduction. You add that extra 25%, and yeah, like I said, unless you're going completely glass cannon, you're going to be fine. That 50% movement reduction isn't going to really matter that much. Crystal Heart, it's an amazing relic. I absolutely love it. It's my go-to. Now, something else I want to talk about that kind of falls under the same tree as the Crystal Heart, and at first glance kind of looks like the same thing except for better, is the Void Heart. Now, this is why you have to read the text. And this is why you kind of have to experiment too. Because at first glance, it might seem better. Because on use, reduces incoming damage by 50%. So you're getting double the damage reduction compared to the Crystal Heart. But it only lasts 4 seconds. So it's not even half of the time of the 10 seconds of the Crystal Heart. And this is where you really got to pay attention to the text. Because, yeah, that 100%, 115% health over not even a second is a huge heal. But there's a key part of this sentence we need to look at. When buff ends, heals 115% of missing health over 0.75 seconds. That is a huge caveat we need to talk about real fast. Because you're not getting that healing until that 4 seconds is up. So let's say you're at half health or a quarter of health and you pop this, there's a good, a good chance you might not survive those next 4 seconds because you're not getting any healing until that is over. So this is definitely a predominantly preemptive, think ahead kind of relic. Don't use this when you're already at half health. Don't use this when you're already at low health. Use this when you're at full health and you know for a fact, oh shit, there's a big boss skill coming in. There's a big boss hit coming in. I cannot dodge it. You know you're not going to dodge it. Use this then at full health so that when you do take that huge hit, that 50% damage reduction will allow you to survive it without, losing most of your health. And then at that point, hopefully that 4 seconds is up, and then that giant heal will come in to heal you back up to full. This is 100% a relic you need to plan for. Get used to your build. Learn how much damage you can survive. Learn how much damage you can afford to take. Once you get that down, then you'll be able to plan ahead. Then you'll be able to know for a fact when you can and cannot use this and how long you'll be able to survive at low health. But definitely, this is definitely one where you want to use it at full health and use it before you take that big hit. But it's still an amazing relic. Absolutely amazing relic for solo play. Now, the third relic I want to talk about can easily fit into both solo content and group content, and honestly in any build. It's an absolutely wonderful relic, and this is actually my second go-to in those instances where I cannot afford to be slowed at all. A good example would be like the Corruptor and the Great Bull, where you're having to run back and forth between those platforms at times. While, yes, I have used the Relic Heart to tank massive amounts of damage, it's not the most carefree way to play that boss fight. So when I need my movement, but I also want to get really good, amazing heals, that's when I go with the Pulsing Heart. Now, on use, what this does is, unlike the previous two hearts, you're not going to get a lot of healing over an extended period of time. You're not getting a huge heal all at once, and you're not getting damage reduction. What you're getting with this is, on use, it pulses every 3 seconds, healing allies, including yourself, within 7 meters for 23 health over 0.5 seconds per pulse, last 15 seconds. So what you're getting with this is tons of little healing, just non-stop. You're just getting non-stop little heals over that 15 seconds, and that's what makes this so powerful, especially in certain situations and builds. Especially since not only you're healing yourself, but you're healing your allies. So in solo content, this would be great for any type of build that has minions. Handler with the doggo, summoner with all its little minions, a combination of both. Maybe you're running handler and summoner, and you just have a small minion army with you. This is an absolutely perfect relic for that type of playstyle. Because it's going to heal you and your minions basically non-stop for that 15 seconds whenever you need it. Absolutely perfect. You add it with the medic and it's broken. Honestly broken. You're always going to be generating relic charges. You're always going to have sustained healing come in. Awesome relic to use, regardless of what type of situation you're in 9 times out of 10. Now, let's talk about co-op next. Because, again, I think co-op is the one side of the game where not enough content creators show enough love and attention to, especially since it's absolutely amazing in my opinion. Again, starting with the Pulsing Heart, this would be chef's kiss, one of the best relics in the game. Not only are you getting a bunch of sustained healing, but your whole entire team is getting a bunch of healing with it too. Again, add in medic, and yeah, you're going to be able to keep you and your team alive with very, very few issues. Pulsing Heart, beautiful in co-op. Now, the one relic I almost never see mentioned, and in my opinion, especially in co-op, could possibly be one of the best relics in the game, is this bad boy right here, the Blooming Heart. This is busted in co-op. Absolutely busted. So, what does it do? On use, heals for 40.25% of max health over 5 seconds. Spawns 3 healing orbs, which grant the same amount of healing over 5 seconds. Orbs last 20 seconds. Recasting removes previous orbs. This is busted. Guys, this is absolutely busted in co-op, and this is why. So, whenever you use it, you're going to pop out these little healing orbs, which allows either you or your teammates to run over them and get that 40% healing whenever you need it. So not only are you going to get that 40% healing, but you're going to give either you or your teammates basically healing items that you can pick up that last 20 seconds whenever you need it. This is busted. If you can plan ahead, let's say at the start of the fight, right? Just right at the start of the fight, pop this bad boy. Well, guess what? Now you got 3 healing items that you and your team can run back to whenever you need them. It's phenomenal, okay? Absolutely probably one of the best relics in the game for co-op. And like I said, you add it with the medic, because what's one things that the medic gets when it comes to relics? Benevolence. Increases relic efficacy by 15%, and it heals your nearby allies whenever you use your relic. And it heals them even more if they're at low health. So you pop this, not only are you going to get that initial 40% heal, but your teammate's going to get part of that, and you're going to have little health balls to pick up whenever you need it too for the next 20 seconds. Busted. Absolutely busted, folks. I love this relic. Every time I've played co-op, I always use this, and it's absolutely amazing. So, those are the first 2 groups we talked about. We got solo content, we got co-op content. Now, there's a third group of what I call special usage or special situation relic hearts that I really, really want to share with you all, because I think these can be extremely powerful and probably the best relic hearts to use in these situations. Now, if you've played any length of time in the game, I'm sure at some point you've probably seen bosses or aberrations with the EmpathyMod. Empathy sucks. TLDR for any of our new players. Basically, bosses and aberrations are a type of enemy that can get special modifiers on them that change their behaviors. One of the worst to run into is empathy. What that does is whenever you use your Relic Heart to heal yourself, you also heal the boss. It is horrible. It is a suck fest. whenever you see that mod. It can just be horrible. But there are 2 relics I want to point out to you folks that basically totally bypass that whole mechanic and can turn what could be a horrible boss fight experience into one that's honestly not that bad at all. Those 2 relics are, first of all, the Shielded Heart. Now, right off the bat, you can tell there's a big difference in this relic compared to all the other relics we've talked about so far. You get no healing. You get absolutely 0 healing when you use this relic. Let's take a look at it and see what it does. It gives you a giant freaking shield. So what this does is every time you use it, it grants a shield for 100% of your max health that lasts 20 seconds. Or until the shield is removed. And again, unless you have absolutely no health, that's a big beat. You basically got a second life bar that enemies have to chew through before they can touch your health. That is massive. That is absolutely massive. And while it doesn't give you any actual healing, that can keep you alive long enough for other things to give you healing, other forms of sustain. Right off the bat, one of the big ones is lifesteal. So things like Siphon Heart, 3% right there. But there's even more. Depending on your gear, and not only that, empathy only affects relics. It doesn't affect healing abilities. But things like Decayed Margin, where you get lifesteal on your melee hits, and depending on how much health you're already missed, you get even more lifesteal. Add that with Siphon Heart, and that's a huge buff to your sustain that will help you heal back up while you have that huge shield. Another big one is the difference engine, which while you're shielded, of course from the Shielded Heart, you gain 20% damage and even more lifesteal. So add this with your Siphon Heart, that's a good combination, but it gets even better. Let's say you have this bad boy on, right? So you pop your shield. Well, you're automatically getting 3% lifesteal from Siphon Heart. Now, while you have your shield up, you're getting another 1.5% lifesteal. There's even more stuff. Let's say you're using a build where kind of like this build right here, where I have tons of mod power generation, right? Let's say you have the Stone of Malevolence. Let's say you have Timekeeper's Jewel, and you have mods that do elemental damage, or you have weapons that do elemental damage. So you're able to spam those mods on a regular non-stop basis. Well, Encrypted Ring, whenever you use a mod, you regenerate 10% of max health over 10 seconds, and that time can stack all the way to 30 seconds. So you spam your mods out, now you got lifesteal coming in, you got regeneration from your mods coming in, and it gets even better, folks. Regenerate 3% of max health per second while shield is active. You pop this bad boy on with your Shielded Heart. Well, guess what? Now you're getting 3% of your max health per second while you're shielded. And it gets even better. Another one that is obviously really stupid busted is the Ring of Grace. So, not only are we getting lifesteal while we're shielded, but we're regenerating health while we're shielded, and taking enemy damage causes us to get even more max health to regenerate. So you add this in with your Encrypted Ring, and just having the Stone of Malevolence, now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sources of sustain and healing that will be more than capable enough to keep you alive and heal back all that health you just lost while you have that shield up. And this is just scratching the surface. Absolutely just scratching the surface. So yeah, Shielded Heart, an amazing relic that allows you to bypass that. Because again, since you're not getting any actual healing from your relic, you're not going to heal the enemy that has empathy. Now, another good one, and the one I use a lot, is Siphon Heart. What this bad boy does is on use, you get a massive lifesteal buff that lasts 10 seconds. 11.5% lifesteal with just this. Add in Siphoner, you're almost up to 15%. And let's say, you know, you have the decayed margin. Well, that's even more lifesteal you're getting. Let's say you are running a summoner build. And guess what? You got Soul Link. So let's say you got your doggo and you got your summons from the summoner. So let's switch this around. Let's get our little dudes out. And this is the reason why I use the Siphon Heart, because I do predominantly run summoner builds. And again, especially what's one of our favorite things in the world, space crabs. So, my normal build would usually look something like this. I have, where's Bulwark? And then there's my Timekeepers. So, this is what my normal build would look like. But with Siphon Heart, well, guess what? All the damage that my summons are doing, I'm getting 5% of that back as lifesteal. And not only am I getting their lifesteal back, but I'm getting, you know, I'm actually getting a little bit less now because I switched my build around. But I'm also getting a massive amounts of lifesteal too from the Siphon Heart and the Siphoner trait. And since it's not direct actual healing, since it's lifesteal, alright boys. The enemy's not going to get the healing from empathy. And again, kind of like with the Shielded Heart, that's only scratching the surface. There's all kinds of different combinations. You could also use some of those regenerating pieces of gear I was talking about too, easily. Another good one, Blood-Tinged Ring. If you have an actual source of bleeding that you can keep up all the time, say from twisting wounds, well, there you go. You got 2% health regeneration going non-stop whenever you're by an enemy that has bleeding. So even without summons, like I said, between things like... Now, where did they all go? Things like the Ring of Grace. I can never find these rings when I actually want them. And it's really freaking annoying. Okay, things like the Generating Band. Where? Oh, okay. And... where'd the other one go? Here we go. So let's say you have absolutely no summons. Well, here's a perfect, and again, absolutely amazing. Or let's say you don't have any shield at all. Let's say you just want pure lifesteal, right? There's lifesteal. There's regeneration. Even more regeneration. Even more regeneration. Even more regeneration. Add that with the Siphoning Heart, and there you go. You'll be able to basically tank your way through and sustain yourself without actually needing healing from your relic. And those are my two favorite relics when it comes to dealing with empathy. So there's the video, guys. Again, there's so many different ways to play Remnant 2. Gunfire Games gave us this huge sandbox with so many toys to have fun with. Experiment. Play around with them. Find stuff that feels fun to you. Find stuff that works with your builds. And as long as you're having a good time with it, experiment. Again, that's what the game is about, is having fun. And that's what my content is all about. It's just helping you find more ways to enjoy Remnant 2 and inspiring all you out there to look at it a little bit differently and to encourage you to experiment with it. And that's the Relic Guide, folks. So, as usual, thank you everybody for stopping by. I hope you enjoy the guide. I hope everybody's having a beautiful night. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until next time, we're out. We'll talk again soon.